As long as I have a face, Gina Carano has a place to sit. Wait, time out, wrong video. We're talking about Star Wars, right? Right, okay then. Nothing, and I mean nothing, red pills the normies faster than watching the far distant extreme left progressive weirdos being their disgusting gatekeeping selves. You know, it's ironic that the SJWs see misogyny everywhere but in the mirror. But anyway, Disney keeps making the South Park's mockery of the evil mouse more real every day. Welcome to another episode of Oopsie Doopsie, a Star Wars story, where the deranged SJWs with their thick bifocals on are screeching at the sky. Wow, imagine my shock. These Twitter idiots are furious because they got reminded today that they have no real power. The cancel culture is failing and I couldn't be happier. Now, Lucasfilm and Disney must be sweating bullets right now over this interview, and for good reason. Considering the mud that they're all the way neck deep in, now this interview will be a watershed moment in the history of cancel culture, where business executives will finally wake up and realize that the social justice fascists are a tiny little fraction of their customer base. But you know what isn't a tiny fraction? It's all the new subscribers I've gained. It is truly a beautiful thing to see when people no longer stand for the lying and political correctness that infests all of our media. People are getting sick and tired. Remember that the whole Star Wars premise is a small band of individuals forming a resistance to an all-powerful empire. That is life imitating art right now, so subscribe and ring the notification bell to piss off those SJW loons. Now, Kathleen Kennedy opened a Pandora's box when she fired Gina Carano, which will not only ruin her reputation on a whole new level, but will make Gina Carano's platform larger than ever. That's ironic. Now, this is the first time I think I've ever heard of a cancelled actor or actress being given such a big platform to speak out against the ones who cancelled them. This is the best example of the Streisand effect taking place I've ever seen, but it's undeniable that her clout is much greater now. She will end up getting more acting phone calls, I guarantee it 100%. And for lots of directors, especially the younger directors, casting her is a surefire way to raise your own profile and get more attention for your film. Now, the spineless cowards at Lucasfilm fired her by email. You want to know why they fired her by email? It's because those hippie fairies weren't about to face an MMA fighter in person. No. They stayed in their basement surrounded by their 9 cats, getting drunk on their rainbow-colored hair dye, and did it over social media with their fat fingers. Now, enough of those cockroaches. It's time to fade into the Daily Wire's interview. Now, in this interview, all of Hollywood's dirty corruption was exposed for the world to see. Disney and Lucasfilm have been treating their employees like shit, and that shouldn't really shock anyone. If you are not an extreme far-left weirdo, then you, my friend, are not welcome in Hollywood. Also, in this interview, Gina Carano did not walk back any of her statements. She didn't apologize to the mob, and she did not bend the knee, and for that, Gina, you have earned my utmost respect. Now, just a reminder in case anyone has forgotten of what Gina actually said that got her fired. She had the nerve, the unmitigated goal to say we should not be like Yahtzee Germany. Yeah, that very true and honest statement that we all should agree with caused an SJW meltdown. Unlike any I've ever seen in a long time, all the weirdos on Twitter replied to Gina and said, "What? No, those Germans in 1942 had some really good ideas. Wait, did we say that out loud?" Imagine being fired for saying that we should not be like Yahtzees. So what does Disney do? They reply to her post and release their own little statement calling her post anti-Semitic. How does that make any sense? Gina Carano should absolutely sue for defamation because her wrongful termination is based solely and directly off discrimination for her political belief. Gina Carano never said what her politics were. She never told you who to vote for. All she said was do not be a sheep, and Disney still fails to understand that her firing only served to prove her analogy is true. But anyway, look, this whole situation is another reminder that Hollywood hates you. So you know what you do? You return the favor. Do not give Hollywood a King dime. That means do not buy a single movie. Do not subscribe to their streaming service. Join me and Captain Sparrow. Arr, matey, as we plunder and steal everything from those rotten elitists. Arr. But anyway, look, Disney supports Chinese camps, but not free speech in America, huh? That makes perfect sense. I'm telling you, these people without morals who work over there at that woke dumpster fire Disney and Lucasfilm are not bothered apparently by that level of hypocrisy, which is fine to me because I'll take my business elsewhere and become a pirate. I will become the greatest pirate you've ever seen, but let me give you a lesson, Disney, on History 101. Suppression of free speech has never and will never work in America. Anyway, back to Gina Carano. It's funny to me that the feminist movement is astoundingly silent on this issue. But you know, since both parties here are female, Gina Carano and Kathleen Kennedy, I'm sure they'll just blame it on the patriarchy anyway. Anyway, look, these weirdos are like, we want strong, independent females. And Gina Carano's like, yeah, I'm a strong, independent female. And the left is like, that's illegal. Because these people do not care about progress. All they care about is pushing an agenda. And they will not stop pushing that wacky nutjob SJW agenda until someone like Gina stands up. And for that, I am very thankful. And a little known fact about Star Wars, Gina Carano is actually a Kenobi on her mum's side. That would explain the badassery, because Gina Carano is about to ascend to Keanu Reeves status. And speaking of Keanu Reeves, I'd love to see Gina Carano in a John Wick movie. The villain could be some despised Hollywood Leatherface figure, pulling the strings for the High Council through her many army of minions, and that's definitely not Kathleen Kennedy. Okay, now I've been reading a lot of stuff about Jon Favreau being very upset at the Gina Carano firing. But let me tell you the truth about that situation. Jon Favreau's hands are tied. His First Amendment rights to speak are being muzzled by the Disney Corporation because Darth Kennedy is still in charge. The only real choice he has is to walk, and I really don't think he'll do that, but I can't imagine how much dirt Kathy Kennedy has on all of these people. It's really the only explanation on how she keeps wielding her destructive power. And before I go, I just want to say I miss the old days when Lucasfilm wasn't so toxic. They need to change Lucasfilm's name to Kennedy Film. At least then they'll stop ruining George Lucas's name, because it seems like they're hell-bent on destroying his legacy. And on that bombshell, thank you all for watching. Mannix fade out.